Okay, my friends, I've been talking about the gut and how the gut controls everything in your body. 100% of your body is controlled by chemistry. We're going to be going into this a little bit deep in a second. Now, what makes the chemistry in your body? Your body doesn't make any chemistry whatsoever. Bacteria make enzymes. The enzymes are the chemistry. I will go into a little bit of detail with this in a minute. Now, how do you get those enzymes in you and the bacteria in you? Well, you first of all, you are supposed to have them in you as you grow and get involved in touching and feeling and tasting, and all these things get in your body, and your body reacts to them and creates different strategies to deal with these invaders. That's the bacteria actually are like chemists. They really are. Now, they will make products to kill the invaders and to break down your food and all that stuff. But if you kill those bacteria with antibiotics, you're defenseless. First of all, you're defenseless. Secondly, you're not going to have your digestion working. If either one of those things happen, you're going to be sick. Case closed. Now, what is a fecal matter transplant? That's when they put somebody else's poop inside of you, which has all the bacteria. It's not a nasty thing. They actually have pills now that you can take. You don't taste anything. You just take them, and the bacteria goes into your body, and within a few days, you are almost a turnaround. Now, is it safe? Are these fecal microbiota safe? This is just within the last couple of years. Fecal microbiota transplants is an accepted procedure for management of recurrent Clostridium difficile infection, which is one of the worst diseases you can get. Fecal matter transplants is generally considered safe and well tolerated even in high-risk patients. Well, why do you have to go through recurrent Clostridium difficile infections? You have to take the drugs 3 times and fail a response to those drugs before they'll let you have a fecal matter transplant, and it's been proven that they're safe and effective almost 50 years ago. Right here, National Institute of Health, fecal matter transplants. History of fecal transplants goes back to even in ancient China. Recently, scientists are looking back into it again. Yeah, it'd be a good idea. Because here's what the history is. You want to see what the history of this is? This is really distressing. This is the history of fecal matter transplants. This is news from the medical life sciences. You come down here, it talks about the new approved stuff. Only if you fail drugs 3 times. But listen to this. Ancient use, everybody knows about the ancient use. In 1958, the patients were recovering and promptly from this diarrhea, which is this C. diff. This is 1958. So they just blew it off. Oh, well, no big deal. Well, 20 years later, 1978, after a ton of evidence piled up, the value of the FMT widely recognized in treating refractory, which means reoccurring, intestinal condition called C. diff. Resistant diarrhea. I mean, it is horrifying. Over 95% of the cases, the cure was quick and permanent. And today, they still won't let you have this. This was in 1978. The only way you can get it is to fail taking their very expensive drugs and being very sick for 3 times. And then they'll say, oh, all right, now we can let you be cured. I guess you've spent enough money and been miserable for a long enough time. Now, let's get into what actually happens in your gut and your digestion. Okay, my friends, I just said you need to understand how bacteria works to create the enzymes, to create the chemistry. What are bacteria, enzymes, and chemicals? All right? Bacteria are living little creatures. And I suppose I should show you this stuff so you understand how these products are created. Now, the bacteria are single-celled little tiny buggers. And they're living cells which have the capability of consuming waste. They go around through your body and garbaging up, picking up all the garbage and bringing it down to the lymph nodes. So they consume waste of different types, all kinds. They can reproduce by themselves, and they actually produce enzymes. Better said, bacteria are the factories that produce enzymes. There is literally probably at least 100,000 different types of bacteria living in you. They just found 30,000 new different viruses the other day, and a virus is an enzyme. Enzymes are catalysts. Viruses are basically the identical same thing. A virus hurts you. It comes in and attacks you. An enzyme is something that comes in and attacks food, and it attacks broken down body parts that are dead. The same thing. But they attack doing good things. The other ones attack doing bad things. Like, let's take COVID. That's creating an enzyme. Something in your body is creating an enzyme that's attacking your floppy collagens, and it's making your thing, well, springy collagens, really. The floppy ones are taken over, and the springy ones don't open your lungs anymore, and they collapse. Your blood vessels don't go boop, 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 boop. They collapse. Your heart doesn't go do, 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 do. It collapses. It's an attack by bacteria on your body. Now, other bacteria will attack your body as well, but it's good. And why is it good? They are flesh-eating bacteria that eat dead flesh. You're continuously, cells in you are dying, whether it's from damage that happens from banging into something, or just dying cells from dying on a natural life process, or toxicity, or whatever it is. You have to remove that stuff out of your body. Otherwise, it collects up and causes toxins, breaks through the cell walls, and creates cancer. That's how it works. So, we know that enzymes are catalysts, okay? And the central role of enzymes, they are biological catalysts. And biology is life. Catalysts are extremely elegant molecules that do chemistry instantaneously, where it would take likely years to do the same process under natural. It would happen, but it would take years. Now, a fundamental task of proteins, and they're always talking about proteins, is to act as enzymes, which are catalysts that increase the rate of virtually all the chemical reactions within cells. They increase the rate, and when I say increase it, woohoo, they increase it. Now, although RNAs are capable of catalyzing some reactions, most biological reactions are catalyzed by proteins. Okay, so RNAs are ribonucleic acids, but most are catalyzed by proteins, which are made by bacteria, which are enzymes. In the absence of enzymatic catalysts, most biochemical reactions, those are your body reactions, are so slow they would not occur under the mild conditions of temperature and pressure that are compatible with life. So if you don't have these nutrition things, you're not going to have life. Enzymes accelerate the rate of such reactions by well over 1,000,000-fold, 1,000,000 times faster. So the reactions that would take years in the absence of these catalysts can occur in fractions of a second if catalyzed by the appropriate enzyme. You have to have the right enzyme. That's the key. And to get the right enzyme, you have to have the right bacteria. You don't have the right bacteria, I don't care what you do, you're never going to have that enzyme. And those enzymes are so elegant, they would never ever occur in nature. Now, cells contain thousands of different enzymes, and their activities determine which of the many possible chemical reactions actually take place within the cells. Now, they're saying every cell contains thousands of these different enzymes. Well, that's quite possible. I can't disagree with that 100%, but I can tell you one thing. These enzymes are able to float through your body almost instantaneously because of a fluid-filled highway that they just discovered in 2018. It's called interstitium fluid-filled highway. Now, catalytic activity of enzymes. Okay, I've been talking about nucleophilic substitution reactions for many years now. That's how the mud fossils became mud fossils. But in your body, you also have nucleophilic substitution. It comes and goes continuously. In the mud fossils, it's a one-way deal. It goes in and it can't come back because the thing is dead. In you, the transition comes in using catalysts, which are the enzymes, and it drops off something and goes back and picks up some more and comes back using transition metals. All right, in the mud fossils, they go in and they drop the stuff off, the transition metal stuff, which is normally goes in, but it stays there because it has no way to come back. The thing is dead. And it only goes in there and because of water flowing through. It's not like it's pumping through the arteries or the veins anymore. It's just it's sitting in this mud, which has all of these transition metals and all of these enzymes and all these things in literally mud. And it comes in and substitutes this goose's head. My buddy here, Caesar. Here's his feathers and everything. That is substitution, and that only happens in a wet, muddy environment where all of the things can go through there, and all of the things that would normally pick up molecules, they will become stabilized. Eventually they'll become stabilized, still in the mud, compacted in the mud. When it comes out of the mud, it just dries out, and then you have the body part or whatever it was that was in that mud. But the transition metals are the way it carries things in through your body. All right, these enzymes are very, very important. Okay, I hope you understand now that the process of life is so quick of moving. You got to run, you need more energy, you got to scream, you got to do this, you got to do that. All of that stuff has to be fed with energy, and instantaneously. It speeds up these reactions 1,000,000 times. Hundreds of thousands of molecules per second can be converted, in this one little area by one single enzyme. And you got billions of them all over your body. Literally, I'm sure there's billions of them throughout your body. So they are doing this instantaneous chemical breakdowns and reactions continuously. But if you don't have the bacteria, you don't have the enzymes. If you don't have the enzymes, you're not going to get that reaction. So you're going to have to make it up somehow. Your body's going to try to cover for these missing bacteria, but that's when they say your body attacks itself. And they call them cytokine storms and so forth, because it's trying to send in troops that don't belong there. They have no other way to try to fight the stuff off. So they do what they can in your body. But it's an attack of the weak against the strong. So you lose. What you need is the correct bacteria doing a correct job, doing a correct enzymatic breakdown, and you're instantly well. Now, the only way to figure out what this is in the body is to continuously take feces samples and see what bacteria are in there. And I think this can be done now using artificial intelligence and spectrum analysis, where you just take pictures of a slide of feces, and there will be all these different colors in there that will represent different types of bacteria. All right, they'll have a very specific color range, and all you got to do is take and then have artificial intelligence go, and it'll list out, these are all the different colors. Now, I don't care what the name of them are, but if there's like this certain yellow and a certain greens and certain blues and certain whatever, and it will put them together in a little package and say, we have so much of this specific wavelengths and so much of this. When you see one guy coming in and he's got cancer and all that wavelength is missing, and everybody you see with that type of cancer is missing, well, you know there's a bacteria that was supposed to be fitted in there somewhere. And apparently fecal matter transplants do replace these bacteria. And these bacteria do these nucleophilic substitutions. And they do all the enzymatic reactions in your body. Without them, you're going to be sick. And they're saying they don't understand this specifically right at this moment. And there's a lot of controversy. Doctors are scared to do anything. They're worried about getting sued. It goes pretty slow in that medical realm. But I think we should start at least pretty much demand that they allow fecal matter transplants. They're safe, and they've been proven effective for one of the worst conditions you can have is C. difficile. And they've already found now, right across the board, it's helping in autism, it's helping in virtually every disease, even in melanoma cancer. They're I don't know if they're recommending it, but they have found that it helps considerably in people that are not responding to drug treatment. And they're not responding to the drug treatment, in my opinion, because they don't have the enzymes to do the chemistry. Without the chemistry, you're not going to get anywhere. So I'm hoping people will start to be able to talk to their doctors and say, I'd like to get a fecal matter transplant. They're allowing off-label use of Ozempic and these other drugs that make you lose weight. But they won't allow the off-use of fecal pills. And that's all they are. They're pills. And they are proven to be virtually 100% safe. And they're 95% effective at curing C. difficile, which the traditional drugs are normally you're going to get a reoccurrence. And at the same time, you're also, I believe, possibly getting damaged by the drugs that they're giving you to try to correct the C. difficile. Now, the fecal matter transplant it appears to have almost no bad reactions if it's clean of all pathogens. And that's the key. It has to come from a certified stool bank. And now they're putting in 4 or 5 different donors into the same pill, and it's very, very effective. They're saying extremely effective now. And all they are is pills. And they're safe and effective. So I don't see any reason we shouldn't be able to request these and be allowed to get these prescriptions for these pills. They're using Ozempic, which is off-label use of a drug that's supposed to be for a disease. And they're letting you take it to lose weight. And it appears to me, from the side effects, it appears all it's doing is destroying your gut. Because there's diarrhea. Let me just show you what the side effects are. Then you make a determination of this Ozempic for losing weight rather than a fecal matter transplant. And they found a fecal matter transplant helps with obesity too, because now you have the ability to digest and get the nutrition you need without eating so much. Sometimes you don't get the right nutrition. Your body says, just keep eating, eat. So, I'm full. Well, too much. You didn't get the right nutrition. Well, you can't get the right nutrition because you didn't break down the food. Now, let's look at what Ozempic side effects are. And don't forget, that's off-label, and they won't let you take fecal matter transplant pills that are pretty much safe and effective and being shown to, right across the board, to have positive benefits for virtually any disease that's chronic. Okay, so here's the most common side effects of Ozempic are nausea, stomach pain, constipation, diarrhea, vomiting. That doesn't sound good to me. It says this Novo Nordisk, the maker of Ozempic and Wegovy, told CBS News that the drugs are a well-established class of medicines which have demonstrated long-term safety in clinical trials. And that was 4 days ago. They're claiming this. Now, here's something about Ozempic side effects, and this is somebody's own. Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be sharing my personal experience with the new medicine Ozempic. Let's see what it has to say. Okay, so my friends, here it is, Ozempic. You're going to get possibly nausea, stomach pain, constipation, diarrhea, and vomiting. All the things that keep you from absorbing food, so you do lose weight, yes. Okay, I'm not going to read you the whole thing because it's very, very long. It says they're talking about obesity and metabolic syndrome, which means you're just not metabolizing your foods correct. You have bad gut bacteria, basically. It says taken together, identify FMT may be associated with short-term statistically significant improvements, even with the insulin sensitivity, for patients with obesity and metabolic syndrome. The degree to which these improvements are clinically relevant, however, has yet to be determined. They're just not doing the research. Lastly, more research is needed to better define the optimal fecal microbial preparation, dosing, and method of delivery. Yes, they found it works. This is for obesity and metabolic syndrome. That is devastating. And again, this is the National Institute of Health. This is not my words. This is a paper that was done back in 2019. This is 4 years later. And they're not doing the kind of research they should for something that has the potential to alter medicine in such a profound way. And I think it's because of that. It's going to alter medicine in a very profound way. When you could just take some fecal matter pills and you don't have to go to the doctor every couple of weeks or get, this is just not right. That this level of safety and this level of improvement in health, possibility, I'm not saying 100%, but as far as I can see, everything that I have read says that they're looking into now fecal matter transplants in every realm of healthcare. And so far, I have seen none that said it was worthless. I've seen a lot of them say, you got to be careful, make sure you talk to your doctor, you could get an infection, you could get this, you could get that. But all of the ones that really studied it said it's safe and effective. And that's been going on for 40 years. So it's time that we put this on the table in medicine and stop this hiding. People are dying because of this. Kids are getting, this is really, really important that we look into this. Whether or not it gets used, I don't know. But the research and the money has to flow into this to find out whether we can do something with this. You got kids, maybe. You maybe have grandkids. You may at some point in life, there's going to be other lives that matter to you, or maybe even your own. These fecal matter transplant pills, they were just giving them to them every 3 weeks or something, and it kept them fine. Now, they may never have to give them again. It's called engraftment. When these things take hold in your system, they just live there, and they reproduce by themselves. You don't have to keep putting them into you. That's the key. They're growing little things. If you get enough of them in your system growing, you're done. You're off the case, and it's a permanent fix. So I'm just asking to have medicine and medical people, please pay a little attention to this and see if we can get some tests done. And I have people that I can contact right now that are capable of performing some of these things, but they're pushed back against, and there is no money. And everything takes money. Unfortunately, that is the key. And then if you can't put in some money to get more money back, then nobody puts the money in. And this is not a money maker. This is a life saver. All right? What's more important? Do you have a whole handful of money or have somebody's life saved? I go with the life. And this covers everybody, especially the poor people. They can't afford a lot of things. And certainly medical intervention that doesn't help is just another expense they certainly can't afford. So, we're all talking about the medical system and we need revenue and we got to cut this and cut that. Let's see if we can get some relief in the medical arena with just simple fecal matter transplants. Test it and see. Get some research, please. I've been talking about this for many years, and we've had very good success just with probiotics. But it's a continuous fight to make sure you take them at the right time every day. And, all you're doing is supplementing the enzymes that would be coming from the bacteria. Usually the bacteria probably, I would assume, does not make it to live past the stomach too much. You got stomach acids, you got all kinds of metabolic things going down there. It will probably kill these bugs, most of them, but you're still going to get their enzymes, which is really what you need. So you have to take them every day, though, and I take them twice a day, and it works good for me. And but you just have to keep taking them. Much better to have them engrafted into you and doing that job all by itself. So this was a pretty important talk. I hope you got something out of it. All right, I love you all. You have to talk up. You have to talk to your doctors. You have to make your voices heard. Don't just listen to what they tell you. I would say don't just listen. Ask questions. Do what they say if you feel good about that. But don't just acquiesce without asking questions. What about a fecal matter transplant? I have somebody that has cancer right now, very close to me. Went to the doctor. I said, ask him about the fecal matter transplant. The response was, it's not ready for prime time yet. I'm serious. That was the answer. It's been 45 years. It's been pretty well ready for prime time. Now, will it correct cancer? It might. Everything is chemistry. Without doing the research, you're never going to know. All right, let me just finish up with this one. Here's another one. Role of gut microbiota in breast cancer and drug resistance. So a lot of people are drug resistant. They can't. It doesn't work. But when they throw the microbiota in, it seems to pump that up. And here's the conclusions right down here. All right, breast cancer, multifunction disease can be affected by age, but they're partly exposed to carcinogens, genetic factors. However, 70% cancer cases were found to have no known risk factor other than being female and over 50 years of age. Accumulating evidence points to a new role for the local immune microbiome in breast cancer. Large-scale studies, including animal models, retrospective and prospective studies, and clinical studies should be designed. They're just way behind on this, to determine the role of the microbiota in breast cancer. It's because you need those enzymes that the bacteria create. It's very, very simple. Life functions like so fast, it's unbelievable. Without the enzymes, it doesn't happen. Then things accumulate in your body. They break through the tissue layers. Then you get invasion, you get cancer. It could lead to the identification of anti-tumor microbiomes for the treatment and prevention of breast cancer. All of these investigations confirming the presence of the microbiota in breast tissue concentrated on distinct cohorts that included healthy versus breast cancer survivors, benign, and they found out that it does affect in a positive way. So they need to look into this very carefully. Now don't forget, there's a bazillion different types of bacteria in your body. Every single bacteria does one of two things, basically. They either create an enzyme that is extremely elegant chemistry set and breaks down molecules hundreds of thousands of times a second, and then just goes on to another one. It's just unbelievable what they do, and that's how your food is digested, and that's how things are. They go out and kill other things and so forth. Then there's other ones that clean up. They grab all the nasty stuff and they bring it over to the lymph, and it gets disposed through the lymph system. If any of these bacteria are not functioning correctly and you do not have the chemistry, that toxin will build up. And that's what's happening in these breast cancers. It's happening in almost every invasive disease is turning out to be helped, at least helped, by fecal matter transplants. And now they're doing like a 4 or 5 donor transplant in pills, and it appears to be extremely effective. Now they could even go more than that, because all it is getting the right bacteria. Somebody else might not have the right bacteria either. You don't know that sometimes they had to do 2, 3, 4 transplants, but by the 4th one they usually had the guy up and running again. But these, you get 4 or 5 at the same time, so you get them all at once, and all they are is pills. And they say they're safe and effective, and even in the most high-risk patients. So I think it's time to really make somebody stand up and say, why can't we get these? Why can't this be done? These are papers that are written by right across the board, virtually every chronic disease, invasive disease. So anyway, I love you all. I hope we can get this done and get some fecal matter transplant pills. Just basically, they should be, they're using off-label use for weight loss pills, but they won't let you have it to save your life. It's just insane to my way of thinking. They know it's safe, and they know it's effective, and it's approved for C. diff, which is one of the most invasive gut diseases there is. And you die quick from that. 29, 30 days, you're done if you don't have it fixed up right. Even less than that sometimes. Anyway, we all need to stand up and ask. Just say, I want a fecal matter transplant. Why won't you give me a fecal matter transplant? And they'll say, well, I'll lose my license. And you say, this isn't right. I want to talk to my state representative. I can't get through to anybody. I've never had one response from anybody. So stand up for yourself. You're going to lose loved ones, and I'm about to lose a loved one now if I don't get this thing straightened out. All right? So help me, help you, help everybody. Your kids are in big trouble now. All the kids have some kind of a problem because they're eating all this kind of crazy stuff, and they've been juiced up on antibiotics, and all kinds of things. And even in the birth process, a lot of them are being damaged because of antibiotics in the birth process. They have no immune system to begin with, and then they flush antibiotics into the woman's body. A lot of this has to be understood. It's gut microbiota that helps in virtually every single condition. And people say, some of them say in 24 to 48 hours, it's all over, you're done, you're feeling 100%. Because that chemistry comes back. Your body's fighting like hell to save your life, and it can't because it does not have the tools. It does not have the chemistry. And the chemistry is only created by what's called an enzyme, and the enzyme is only created by bacteria, and the bacteria lives in your gut. That's why you have to take these, pills, which have these microbiota replacement gut and, bacteria. And then they start living in you, and you're good to go. That's it. Done. And they're taking them from young kids to have really good, healthy probiotics in their body. So, anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I love you all. Goodbye.